All right, then I'm going to step out and let you guys take over. Go ahead.
Okay.
Right. So we have Yasmina and Redeema. Um, so for some background information, there were four republics, and only the last one was successful. But then Supreme Caracas junta took control, and Bolivar led the first, second, and third, but they were all unsuccessful. And but the Congress ordered Union of Venezuela and New Granada, known as Gran Colombia. It ended the Third Republic. So a revolution is a forcible overthrow of a government or social order in favor of a new system. Okay. So was it a revolution, Redeema? Redeema.
In my opinion, it was not a revolution because they didn't consider communicating with the Spanish. They didn't come together to talk about it, like the American Revolution. And there were still parts of Venezuela that were still with the Spanish. So
But also it was a revolution because people wanted their own democracy, and they did go to the Spanish government to ask them, like not to ask them, but to like make sure like they knew that this is what was going to happen. But they just weren't taking it into consideration, and it was just not happening. So they had to like take force with violence.
But but going by the definition of what a revolution is, it wasn't a forcible overthrow of the government, like in favor of a new system.
But it was, they wanted to change into a democracy. They weren't happy under Spanish
Yeah,
control because after Napoleon invaded in 1808, like it was like the economy of Spain was it completely collapsed, and it was destroyed, and they wouldn't be able to support them.
but it wasn't. I still stand to my point because the Second Republic ended because of the Spanish. The Spanish, like started shooting at the Republic, and um, yeah, it was. They didn't put Spain in such a position as they had to step down, or they didn't force Spain to let Venezuela go.
But when they did change the captain general, when they
Yeah.
changed from Vincent Empran to the Supreme Caracas, um,
Mhm.
uh, when they changed it to the Supreme Caracas, they made the Grand Colombia, and then it became the Republic of the Grand Colombia, and then other countries came and joined it. So I think it was also a beneficial to them as well.
No, but before all of the Grand Colombia stuff, there was the second, and the third republic.
But those also weren't not as successful as the fourth one.
Yeah, but how does that say that it was a revolution?
I mean, when Simon Bolivar first he led all the first three, even though those three weren't successful. He basically learned from what he did wrong and put that into the War of Independence.
But then, but still, it didn't put Spain in such a position to like let Venezuela go. In the end, Spain still wanted Venezuela as
Yes,
theirs.
I believe that Spain knew it was going to happen anyway because even though after they were invaded by Napoleon, their economy
Yeah.
was destroyed. So they knew that some like I think that they knew that Venezuela would want to have their own democracy.
Yeah, but then they did fight for Venezuela. The Second Republic got destroyed because of that.
Yeah, but that only destroyed because of the earthquake.
That was the First Republic, though.
Sorry.
Did the revolution make a huge impact on the civilization?
And it did because some of Venezuela didn't want to have their own democracy. They were like worried because Spain. They were worried that Simon Bolivar wouldn't be able to lead them into success.
Redeema?
Can you repeat the question? It was cracking. I couldn't hear you.
Did the revolution make a huge impact on the civilization?
It did because Venezuela was facing a power vacuum when Napoleon had invaded. Um, Spain. So for once, it did bring Venezuela a stable government instead of having to switch between Simon Bolivar and Spain. And yeah, I think it did make a huge difference.
Um, why did they want to replace Vicente Emperon? Did it help them in any way?
They wanted to replace him because they felt that it wasn't right for Captain General, and then they replaced him with a better uh, group, which was the Supreme Carcass, and that also benefited them in winning the War of Independence and them in the end becoming their own democracy.
Well, Yasmina, you keep saying that replaced Vicent with the Supreme Caracas, but Vicent was the leader, the Captain General of the
Yeah,
Supreme Caracas. They just exchanged the leader.
when he stepped down, they didn't have him anymore, so they needed someone to help them, or
Yeah,
someone something to help them win the revolution, the war.
yeah,
Hmm.
okay.
In your opinion, if they didn't replace him, do you think Venezuela would be where it now is?
I don't think so, because he was yet a good leader, but they also felt that he wasn't right for the point, and when the Supreme came on to basically took over, it helped them a lot because they made like the Grand Columbia and they helped them win the War of Independence.
Um, do you guys have any final thoughts?
No.
Yeah.
So, thank you for being here. Yeah.
All right. Good job, guys. You may leave the call and return to the classroom, and we'll wrap it up and talk a little bit about what happened. So if anybody did happen to show up and watch us, thanks for being a part of it. And that's the end.